Hey Bears fans, we're back with an exclusive video and the latest updates on our beloved Chicago Bears. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. That way, you'll always stay up to date with breaking news and exclusive content. All right, folks, gather around because what's going down in Chicago right now feels like the kind of story that shakes up an entire franchise. The Chicago Bears, a team that's been trying to rebuild its identity for what feels like forever, just got hit with a bombshell. Head coach Ben Johnson, the offensive mastermind they brought in with all the hype, the new era guy, has reportedly handed in his resignation. And not just any quiet, behind closed doors kind of exit. No, this one's loud, messy, and full of drama. According to people close to the situation, it all came down to a line in the sand. It was me or him. Those were Johnson's words, apparently directed at someone high up in the organization. And you don't have to be a genius to guess that him might just be the general manager, Ryan Poles. This wasn't about X's and O's anymore. This was about power, direction, and who actually runs the Chicago Bears. And just like that, the man who was supposed to lead the next big turnaround has walked out the door, leaving everyone from players to fans in total shock. Now, let's not pretend this came completely out of nowhere. Over the past few weeks, there were whispers, quiet ones, sure, but they were there, about tension inside Hallis Hall. Rumors that Johnson and the front office weren't exactly seeing eye to eye on roster decisions. There were disagreements about the quarterback situation, the offensive scheme, even the kind of players the team should target in free agency. Johnson wanted autonomy. Poles wanted structure. And in the NFL, when a head coach starts pushing back against the people upstairs, it never ends well. Insiders say Johnson grew increasingly frustrated with interference in his game plans, especially after a string of close losses that the media turned into chaos. He felt undermined, cornered, and, according to one source, done with the politics. That's when things reached a boiling point in a closed-door meeting earlier this week, where voices were raised, tempers flared, and the line, "It's me or him," turned into a resignation letter less than 24 hours later. For fans, this feels like deja vu. Chicago has been here before, too many times, honestly, where promise turns into turmoil faster than a missed field goal in December. Ben Johnson was supposed to be different. The Bears had chased him for years, after his impressive work as an offensive coordinator in Detroit. He was seen as the guy who could modernize their offense, bring stability to the locker room, and finally turn Justin Fields into the quarterback everyone hoped he could be. But instead, it's ended in flames. The timing couldn't be worse either. The team's halfway through the season, and players are caught in the middle of this internal storm. Reports say some of the veterans are furious, some are stunned into silence, and a few younger guys are flat-out confused about what happens next. The message to the locker room right now? Unclear. And in sports, when leadership fractures like this, it doesn't just affect the sidelines. It seeps into everything from effort on the field to morale during practice. And let's talk about the him in all this, Ryan Poles. Because if Johnson's parting words were indeed, "It's me or him," then that tells you everything about the divide inside the Bears building. Poles, the GM, has been trying to craft this team his way, focusing on long-term development, draft picks, and cap space. But Johnson wanted to win now. He wanted to be aggressive, to make moves that showed the Bears weren't rebuilding. They were ready to compete. It's the classic NFL struggle, philosophy versus patience. And when two strong-willed men collide over who gets the final say, someone's got to blink. Only this time, it wasn't Poles. It was Johnson who decided to walk. Whether you see that as strength or surrender depends on your angle. But either way, it's another reminder of how fragile these so-called new eras really are in pro football. They can crumble overnight. The fallout from this is going to be wild. The Bears now find themselves without a head coach in the middle of a crucial season, and the media frenzy has already started. Sports talk shows are dissecting every move, fans are flooding social media with theories, and insiders are trying to piece together how things got this bad this fast. Some say Johnson simply lost patience. Others claim Poles never fully trusted him. There's even chatter that ownership wasn't thrilled with how Johnson handled press conferences. Apparently, He wasn't the smooth talker they expected for a face of the franchise. But the truth probably sits somewhere in the messy middle, where egos, expectations, and pressure all collide. For now, the Bears are in damage control mode, scrambling to install an interim coach and calm a locker room that's clearly shaken. This isn't just another headline, it's a turning point. And here's the kicker. There's a growing belief that this story isn't over. Some insiders think Johnson's exit might expose deeper issues inside the Bears front office. Others are suggesting this could trigger a chain reaction, possibly even costing Poles his job if the team collapses in the second half of the season. The me or him ultimatum might have sounded like a one-time blow-up, but it could echo through the organization for months. Because when a coach of Johnson's caliber walks away mid-season, it sends a message not just to players, but to everyone in the league. Something's rotten in Chicago. Rival executives are already circling, players are going to start questioning their futures, and the fan base. Well, they've been through too much to just sit quietly. Whatever happens next, this isn't just a resignation. It's a revolution brewing behind the scenes of a franchise that can't seem to escape its own chaos. The second part of this saga is where things get even more complicated, because while the headlines scream about Ben Johnson quitting, the whispers coming out of Chicago suggest it wasn't as simple as a frustrated coach walking away. Some sources claim Johnson was actually pushed, or at least encouraged, to resign after a heated confrontation with ownership. Apparently, after that infamous meeting with Poles, the McCaskey family got involved, trying to mediate and calm things down. But when Johnson refused to back off his stance on full control of the offense and personnel, the bridge was burned. Insiders describe it as irreparable damage. The Bears didn't want to outright fire him. Too messy, too public, so the resignation became the cleanest way out for everyone. But make no mistake, there's no peace here. This was a power struggle that turned into a quiet explosion, and everyone inside Hallis Hall knows it. The question now is what this means for the Bears locker room. Players love Ben Johnson. At least most of them did. He was fiery, passionate, and always had their backs when the media came calling. He wasn't perfect, sure, but he believed in accountability, and players respect that. Now, with him gone, the atmosphere feels uncertain. One player reportedly told a Chicago radio station that it feels like the floor just dropped out. The timing is brutal. Mid-season, coaching changes rarely go smoothly, and with the Bears still trying to find their rhythm offensively, this could derail everything they've built. The interim coach, most likely the defensive coordinator, will be tasked with holding the team together, but that's easier said than done when half the locker room is still processing what just happened. Emotionally, the team's in free fall. You can't just erase a coach's influence overnight. But beyond the emotional side, there's the strategic chaos. Johnson's offensive system was intricate, built around timing, motion, and rhythm. It took months for players to grasp it, and now, suddenly, there's a vacuum. Whoever steps in next will have to either stick with Johnson's playbook or overhaul it entirely. Both risky moves mid-season. Analysts are already debating what comes next for Justin Fields, who reportedly had a close working relationship with Johnson. Fields trusted Johnson's vision, and some say he was finally starting to feel comfortable under his leadership. Losing that now? That's a huge blow. It's not just about plays and stats, it's about trust. A young quarterback without consistency is like a car without a steering wheel. No matter how much horsepower it's headed for a crash. And you can feel it, the frustration boiling among the fans. Chicago is one of the most loyal sports cities in the world, but patience only stretches so far. After years of rebuilding, of promises that never quite pan out, this feels like another reset button getting smashed. The comments online are brutal. Fans blaming ownership, fans blaming Poles, and some even blaming Johnson for quitting when things got tough. But what's consistent in all the noise is disappointment. Bears fans wanted a leader who'd stick through the storm, not one who'd become part of it. And yet, the more details that leak, the more it sounds like Johnson didn't see a way forward without compromising his principles. In today's NFL, that kind of stubbornness can either make you legendary or unemployed. Right now, it's the latter. As for the rest of the league, this is going to send shockwaves. Other teams have already taken notice. When a head coach like Ben Johnson suddenly becomes available, phone calls get made. There's speculation that a few organizations, ones that might be looking for a new head coach soon, are already lining up to talk to him. Maybe he takes a year off, maybe he joins another team as an offensive coordinator, or maybe he comes back with a vengeance somewhere else. Whatever happens, you can bet his side of the story will eventually come out, and when it does, it might not be kind to the Bears front office. That's the risk with messy breakups in pro sports. No one stays quiet forever. And finally, let's talk about what this means for the Chicago Bears as a brand, as a legacy. Because right now, perception is reality, and the perception is chaos. A team that can't keep its leaders aligned, can't manage internal conflict, and can't stay out of its own way. Every time they take a step forward, something drags them 2 steps back. Ben Johnson's resignation isn't just a coaching change. It's a symbol of dysfunction. If ownership doesn't take control, if polls can't steady the ship, the Bears risk becoming what no proud franchise ever wants to be: irrelevant. And for a city like Chicago, that's unforgivable. So buckle up, because this storm isn't over. It's just getting started. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. And as the dust settles over Hallis Hall, you can almost feel the tension lingering in the air. Reporters are camped outside, cameras flashing, waiting for someone, anyone, to give a real explanation. But so far, it's been silence. A few no comments, a couple of vague press releases, and that's it. Behind the scenes, though, there's talk that ownership might have underestimated how much this would rattle the organization. The McCaskies wanted stability, and instead, they got headlines that screamed dysfunction. The locker room, once filled with optimism about Johnson's vision, is now divided between those who supported him and those who just want to move forward. It's chaos disguised as professionalism. And deep down, everyone's asking the same question: how did it all fall apart so fast? This was supposed to be the season the Bears turned the corner, and now, halfway through, they're spinning in circles, trying to remember which direction they were even headed in the first place. Meanwhile, in the rest of the NFL, the rumor mill is going wild. Coaches, agents, insiders, everyone's talking about Chicago. Some believe Johnson will land on his feet quickly, maybe even as a hot name for another head coaching job this offseason. Others think he might hold off, wait for the right opportunity, and return with a chip on his shoulder. Either way, his name's not disappearing anytime soon. What's more interesting, though, is how rival executives are viewing the Bears right now. You've got general managers around the league quietly smirking, knowing that Chicago's internal drama could make them desperate. Desperate to make trades, desperate to prove control, desperate to win back public trust. The Bears' next move will define not just their season, but their entire direction as a franchise. And the rest of the NFL is watching like it's a primetime show. Still, if there's one thing history tells us, it's that chaos can sometimes spark rebirth. Maybe this is the breaking point the Bears needed, a hard reset to finally build something real, something unified. Or maybe it's just another chapter in a never-ending cycle of false hope and front office failure. The fans, though, deserve better. Chicago's faithful have been through heartbreak, rebuilds, and promises that never materialized. Now, they're staring at another crossroads, waiting for someone to lead with conviction. Ben Johnson's resignation might have been the dramatic headline, but the real story is what happens next. Will the Bears finally learn from their mistakes? Or will this just be another season lost to politics and pride? One thing's for sure. In Chicago, the storm always comes before the calm. The only question is whether this time, they'll finally find a way to weather it. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.